What's happening, brothers and sisters? I'm Chips Enough. Welcome to The Leaf on the Monsters of Rock and the Dash Radio Network. And we have a wonderful guest today. Her name's Laura Sativa. What a great name. I wish my name was Chip Sativa. A flute player in Soul Cake and the bass player in No Valentine and leading the charge for women in cannabis. Is that incredible? I know about that. When I go out to those Lollapalooza concerts or Aftershock or there's a bunch of them out there, obviously, with Coachella. I would say that 60% of the audience is women and 40% of those women are smoking pot. They're having a great time. And alcohol's been pushed to the side. Of course, there's a market for that, but people are grabbing onto pot and embracing it like never before in the United States of America. And I'm happy about that because it gets you in less trouble. Tell me about the first time that you smoked pot. What are your memories of getting high for your very first time, Laura?
Well, gosh, that would go way back. First of all, thanks for having me on. It's really nice to see you. I remember meeting you quite a long time ago at Cannabis Cups in Amsterdam in mid-90s or so. Not
Absolutely.
to date either of us here, but
wonderful moments in Amsterdam. How about that? Wasn't it fun over there? When we were there, you and I, it was Guilder. It wasn't euro. It wasn't pounds. It was Guilder. That was the money they used out there.
Exactly. I remember you were a judge. I think you and your bandmates were judges.
Yeah, along with Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. He was a judge as well. And then we all played together at a place called the Melkweg, which is still open in Amsterdam right now. They still have rock concerts and pop concerts there. And we went over to a couple different places. We were there, you and I, for about a week, just hanging out. And there was a lot of women smoking pot back then, too. But it was more of a taboo than we had. That's why we went to Amsterdam, because they turned the other cheek. It's a funny country out there, but a lot of fun out there. And when you and I were out there, it was also freezing out as well.
It was. But to answer your question, when did I first smoke pot? Well, I grew up in rural Connecticut, and, you could get homegrown swag that was grown in somebody's backyard pretty easily. And, I probably messed with that a little bit in my early teens, but I didn't really become a smoker until I got into college. And I really preferred chilling out a little bit more and not getting so sloppy drunk as is popular to do in colleges to this day, I presume. That's when I really started smoking, but I didn't really get into actually knowing a lot about weed, a lot about cultivation and different strains of weed and the differences between sativas and indicas, couch, as we say.
Yep.
I really got into that after college. I moved down to New York and I got involved in the music scene here. I wound up, as you might presume, Laura Sativa is actually a stage name that I was bestowed one Halloween by bandmates way back in the day. We did a big Halloween show and I was the goddess of Sativa. And that's how that name came about. That just kind of stuck. So
it's a great name. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't touch that.
When I moved to New York, I wound up living in a big loft down on Ludlow Street. Ludlow and Canal. And my roommate was real tight with this guy, Flicky Ford. He was one of the artists at High Times magazine.
Yep.
So I had a lot of that crew hanging out down in my loft in those early days. And we used to have parties there. I used to have bands playing up on my roof. Steve Bloom is an old friend of mine. I hear you just interviewed him recently.
Yep, he talked about you as well. I love High Times magazine. What a great history, High Times magazine. You and I get the chance to experience that. It's wonderful.
Yeah, no, they were a great bunch. And, back then it was still scrappy and irreverent and a little bit, fuck the world. Ooh, can I say that? they were definitely, bucking the system back then. I loved the humor. I loved that whole crew of people. Steve Hagar, the editor at that point, was just completely irreverent, great sense of humor, and really a fun bunch of people to hang around with.
I love those cats over there. Folks, we're talking to Laura Sativa. If you're listening to The Leaf on the Dash Radio Network.
Don't criticize it. Legalize it, yeah. And I will advertise it. Some call it tampy. Some call it the weed. smoking, and players of instrument too. Legalize it, yeah, yeah. That's the best thing you can do. Doctors smoking, nurses smoking, judges smoking, even the lawyer too. So you got to legalize it, and don't criticize it. Legalize it, yeah, yeah, and I will advertise it. It's good for the food, good for asthma, good for tuberculosis, even numerous combosis. Got to legalize it. Don't criticize it. Legalize it, yeah, yeah. I will advertise it. Birds eat it, ants love it, fowls eat it, goats love to play with it. So you got to legalize it, and don't criticize it. Legalize it, yeah, yeah, and I will advertise it.
Monsters of Rock is the get the hell off the sidewalk if you don't like the way I'm driving kind of music.
That is some weird, wild stuff.
You're listening to the Monsters of Rock Radio Network.
Ships are dying, planes are
Welcome back to the Leaf on the Dash Radio Network. I'm here with Laura Sativa. The name says it all right there. Tell me about your connection to rock and pot. How did it all start for you?
Well, I actually am a classically trained flute player. I played flute as a kid all the way up through high school, and then I got bit by the rock and roll bug. So I dropped the flute and I picked up a bass guitar and I moved to New York. You know, I started out in a punk band, a girl punk band called Mongrel Bitch.
Great name.
And we girls, we like to smoke weed. And we wrote a song called Amsterdamage, which was about our experiences playing on tour around Europe, but specifically in Amsterdam at the Cannabis Cup.
Yep.
We hung out with Chef Ra. You know, we were there one year where there was a communal dinner every day at Pack Party House. And we were given an apartment to stay in. But the deal was that we had to help make the dinner. So we came up with this plan that what we would make every day is salad. And we had to make salad for about 75 people for dinner. So they would give us the money to give us the budget in the morning. And we would go to the market and buy all these great fresh veggies and everything and go and just have like a chopping up frenzy and have like a big giant plastic bag of salad and just bring it down to the party house with a gallon of salad dressing that we'd mix up. And then we had the rest of the day for ourselves. So it was a good deal there. A lot of fun.
You know, what about influences then? What tripped your trigger when it came to learn how to play bass? Was there any bands out there, any musicians that you said, yeah, I want to learn how to play like this cat or this girl? Or, I mean, we have players out there like Carole King. She's a great bass player. She played on all the records from the early days. But then you got bass players like Paul McCartney.
I was really inspired by, you know, the punk greats, the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, the Buzzcocks, the Dead Boys, the New York Dolls. Really got into Alice Cooper Band. That's like when I really actually kind of got to the point where I can say that I actually know how to play bass and started to develop a technique that was a little bit more
I love Dennis Dunaway. What a great bass player.
Just quarter notes. Yeah, bass player to bass player here. There's nothing wrong with the quarter notes, but
no.
You know, it's nice to be able to do a little bit more. So Dennis Dunaway was a big influence on me. You know, I was in a Alice Cooper tribute band, I don't know, for a couple of years. You know, it was a annual Halloween surprise we used to do.
Quite challenging playing that Alice Cooper stuff too. Those are great bass lines.
They are so much fun to play. Oh my God. I mean, all those guys in that band, the original Alice Cooper band, were just great genius musicians, and they all fit together, their parts. Those bass lines are so much fun to play, those old songs.
Yeah, Dennis Dunaway, we haven't had him on the program yet. I want to get him on here because he's got a brand new book that's out right now, but those bass lines are iconic, really left an indelible mark with a lot of us out there.
He's a real sweetheart. I've met him a couple of times, real friendly guy. So
yeah. How about girl bass players? Was there anybody out there that you really loved, you know, from some of those other, like the Runaways? Were you a fan of the Runaways at all?
I was. I mean, you mentioned Carole King. I mean, she was just immense. And, you know, the documentary about the whole Wrecking Crew was just such an eye-opener for me to see, like, how working musicians, like true working musicians, really were working 24 hours a day back then when they were doing all those sessions, session to session to session to session, day in and day out. Amazing. You know, Kim Deal, obviously from the Pixies, you know, she was somebody.
The Breeders.
I went to college in Boston, so I was kind of one of her contemporaries there in Boston when they were first starting out. You know, Kim Gordon.
Oh, love Kim Gordon. I love the Sonic Youth stuff. Really, a very eclectic player right there. No rules or regulations with that chick.
Oh, that whole band, exactly. But, you know, overall, like when I was first learning how to play, I remember Jane's Addiction had just come out with that first release they did on Triple X Records.
Yeah, Eric Avery, bass player.
I fell for that big time. And Eric Avery was such a fantastic bass player.
Yeah, they're back together again. They're on tour with Smashing Pumpkins, Jane's Addiction, and Poppy out on tour right now. And Eric Avery, that bass player, is back in the band after a 15-year hiatus. Wonderful player.
That's great. I got to catch that.
Yeah, me too. Folks, we're talking to Laura Sativa from Soul Cake, No Valentine. I'm Chips Enough. Let's get back to some more music here on The Leaf, on the Monster Rock, on the world-famous Dash Radio Network.
To love me. Now is it my body or something I might be or something inside me? You better tell me.
Mary Jane got a thing going on, going on. Creeping up slow, hanging around my back door, my back door. If we get caught, everyone will see us stone, see us stone. Me and Mary Jane got a thing going on, going on. Me and Mary Jane got a thing going on, going on. Creeping up slow, hanging around my back door, my back door. If we get caught, everyone will see us stone, see us stone. Me and Mary Jane got a thing going on, going on.
Monsters.
Everything was excess. You know, you didn't have a drink, you had a bottle. You had a bottle of whiskey. You didn't have a drink of whiskey. You didn't have a joint. You had here's a kilo.
The Monsters of Rock.
Sometimes I feel like I'm fading away. You're looking at me, I got nothing to say. Don't make me angry with the games that you play. Either light up or leave me alone. Walk in my room, you lie on my bed. Open your mouth, shoot someone dead. All of a sudden, you're inside my head. Either light up or leave me alone. Spending my bread like it grew on the tree. You're trying to tell me about the birds and the bees. And the skirt that you're wearing is way past your knees. Either light up or leave me alone. You're up all night, picturing your mind. Come home in the morning with your latest find. I'm gonna have to lay it to you straight on the line. Either light up or leave me
Welcome back to the Monsters of Rock. The Leaf, that's what it's all about. The Leaf here on the Monsters of Rock on the Dash Radio Network, where we talk about all things rock and roll, pot, and whatever trips your trigger out there. We try to get to it 24/7 here. And I have great guests. And Laura Sativa, what a great name. I can't tell you how fantastic talking to you about pot is. But I want to ask you a couple of questions about your rolling tips. And can you give our audience any tips on, your approach? Is it bongs, vapes, pipes? What is it that you really enjoy and you embrace when it comes to marijuana?
Well, I love a good water pipe because I love ice cold water, cools the smoke, purifies a little bit, just makes it a little bit easier on the throat. I've had the same glass water pipe for like 20 years, which I shouldn't jinx myself. I'll knock wood right now that I have not broken this thing yet.
Oh, good.
And one of my favorite possessions because, I love, smoking joints when it's a really nice quality weed. I love that you can buy, the pre-rolled cones.
I love those as well.
Lazy Susans are my favorite because they come in pink, and now they're going to have a purple coming out. I think you can pre-order those right now.
My favorite color.
Yep, me too. But mostly, and I carry a little one hit with me, a little glass one hit, just for when you're sitting out in the park and you just have that hankering.
Do you enjoy rolling joints? Do you like, job rolling papers or zigzag papers, Elements? There's so many different brands out there. Is any of them that you really embrace?
Well, like I say, I love the pre-rolled cones. There's a couple different brands right now. A friend of mine has a retail shop that I help her out with that sometimes I sit around and I help her stuff her pre-rolls. And, it's very relaxing. It's very kind of therapeutic just to have like a giant tray and just grind it all up and clean it all up and then stuff it all up.
In other countries, they have girls out there who would walk with the hash on the bottom of their feet. They call it either the first brush or the heel. Any experience with hashish or with keef or gunpowder, any of that good stuff? Or is it just strictly flower for Laura Sativa?
Oh, well, back in the day, I loved hashish. You can't really get it here these days.
No, it's really hard.
And then when I do hear about it, it's absurdly expensive. I spent a lot of time in Holland. So, hash. Yeah, love it. But, I'm kind of a little bit of a snob. I don't like to smoke stuff that's not quality. It's just, it doesn't taste good. It's hard in your throat.
Yep.
I have not had some decent hash in ages. If anybody here in New York has got some, let me know.
No, it's hard to get. Some of the coffee shops and some of the smoke shops around the country are starting to hold hash. You can actually get some shattered as well as some keef and some gunpowder. Big over in Europe. Not the subculture here is a much different lifestyle. However, there's some guys that are out there they gravitate to the hashish because the THC content's so strong. It's a little strong in your throat as well, but I think for the most part, it's more of a body high than anything else.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for wrapping with tobacco because that's really big in Europe. Honestly, if I don't smoke cigarettes, but occasionally if somebody's got a mixie with the tobacco, I prefer it to be hash as opposed to flower, just because I really like the taste of hash and I really liked that blend.
All I did when I was in Amsterdam with you is I hung out with Sebastian Bach and we smoked hashish every single day. Went to the greenhouse with Ari and the guy that won the first place in the Cannabis Cup. And the people that were in Amsterdam were looking at us. It was almost like we offended them because they mix all their stuff with tobacco and we were just smoking the flower clean or mixing it with hashish or with keef or whatever they had out there, the gunpowder, which is the same thing. And we were higher than sin. And it was so cold out there in November because you're up north by the water. Get a chance to do any of that stuff while you were in Amsterdam? Would you, besides hanging out with those lovely people, did you get a chance to try different things that you normally wouldn't here in the United States?
Yeah, I got really tight with a lot of the folks who live in the Frankrijk squat that's on Spousstraat. It's one of the more organized squats that's been around for a while. And when we were on tour, we would stay there. They used to have like a little bar down on the ground floor, and you used to have to like reach into this hole in the wall and ring a doorbell, and the window would kind of open and they would check you out before they would let you in.
Yep.
It was fun. There were cool people there, but it was very political at the time. There was still a lot of actions with squat evictions and so forth.
Yeah.
They had this crazy security system where the main staircase going up to where the apartments are, there was this big like cage door that would just slam down over the whole stairwell if the cops came.
Yeah.
So I actually helped them crack a squat once. I have all sorts of squat stories from Amsterdam. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, those squatter places there's some great stories in there. I'll tell you, I went to a couple of them, to be honest with you. Those people are out of their minds. There's no rules or regulations when it comes to living out there, and there's no bills either. You're just squatting until you get caught and on to the next place. Folks, we're talking to Laura Sativa. I'm Chips Enough. This is The Leaf. We'll be right back.
Interstate 65. I loved in Nashville, Tennessee, highfalutin woman I tried. Now I'm busted stone flat down in Spring Hill. I got nothing but time and the bottles to kill, and I never thought I could ever feel like that. But there's the cold hard dawn, and I'm stoned at the jukebox, and I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. 'Cause that's the kind of songs it takes to get all that old hurting out. And Lord, I love that hurting music, 'cause I am hurting too.
Welcome back to the Leaf on the Monster Rock and the Dash Radio Network. I'm with Laura Sativa, bass player for No Valentine Soul, and also plays flute and Soul Cake. And I'd like to hear that band. I wonder if you like Ian Anderson at all. He's a big influencer when it comes to bands like Jethro Tull.
Of course.
Yeah, there's a great band.
We cover some Jethro Tull.
Really?
I'm also really into jazz and Herbie Mann, free jazz type of stuff. I kind of play everything.
Oh, you're a very diversified musician. What is your favorite when it comes to music? Or do you lean more toward the punk stuff or the pop stuff, or do you actually like jazz music?
No, I actually like jazz music. I know it's shocking. I'm an old school punk. It's like I'm a Gemini, so I have like this dual personality thing going on. So, I played with punk bands, rock bands, all sorts of different types of stuff. And then, the flute thing is, we've got an acoustic version of that band. We also have a electric version. It's usually a trio, which is bass guitar, guitar and vocals and flute. And then occasionally we add a drummer and it becomes like an electric thing. You can check it out, soulcakenyc.com.
Soulcakenyc.com, and you can hear that music.
Yep.
Anything that's released on Spotify right now?
Yep, we're on Spotify under Soul Cake NYC. Yeah, we have a 4-song EP we put out late last year. So we're working on new recordings now. We do a lot of regional playing around New York, tri-state area here, down the city, so on and so forth. So.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of places in New York to play, I'll tell you that, folks. I've had wonderful times there, whether it's playing Irving Plaza or Radio City Music Hall or just a small little place like the Mercury Lounge. I love the Mercury Lounge.
Yep.
There's some great shows there.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just there. Not long ago.
Yeah, they got a lot of national acts that come in and play that small little room. It holds 150 people. But, you and I spent a lot of time over at High Times Magazine. And Steve Bloom is a friend of both of ours, and Celebrity Stoner. It's his new company. And he cited you as an important woman in cannabis. What do you see in the future of marijuana here in the United States?
Well, on the pro side, I see, less criminalization, more decriminalization, less damage and destructive to certain communities that were always scapegoated for, drug problems. That's the positive side. The negative side potentially is that I fear that it'll be like big tobacco. I just was reading about the retail licenses. The applications for retail licenses have just become available within this past month. And the application fee was something absurd. I want to say it was like $10,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
This is the problem. I mean, if you're a Merck or you're, one of the tobacco companies, sure, that's nothing. But they claim that they want to have, they want to focus on having people that were incarcerated or suffered the worst effects of the war on drugs and the war on marijuana, having access to these licenses and this application procedure. But, who's got 10 grand lying around for an application, which, by the way, doesn't guarantee you anything. That's
it's almost like you're paying for the reparations, okay, with the harm that's been bestowed upon us by our government.
But they're expecting the people that were actually hurt by it. They're trying to focus on these people that were incarcerated and marginalized because of the policing of marijuana throughout the last 40 years. But these are the people that probably don't have that kind of money around to take advantage of it. Raised an eyebrow at that, and that's my main concern about the whole process of legalization as it rolls through the country, is that it's going to start to become very exclusive based on who can afford to buy into it.
Yeah, let's hope the laws open up and these leaders of our country realize how important this plant is, not just for people just to get high and have a good time, but for people that medically could use it to help any conditions that they're dealing with. That's the most important thing. Laura, it's been great talking to you. I wish we could stand and talk for another half an hour or another hour.
Thank you so much for inviting me on. This has been really great. It's nice to see you after all these years.
Yeah, Laura, on behalf of everybody over here at The Leaf, thank you so much for coming on the program. We're talking to Laura Sativa. God bless you and your family.
Take care, hon.
You're listening to The Leaf here on the Monsters of
someone I used to see, but she don't give a damn for me. Well, let me get to the point. Let's roll another joint. Turn the radio loud. I'm too alone to be proud, and you don't know how it feels. You don't know how it feels to be me. People come, people go. Some grow young, some grow cold. I woke up in between memory and a dream. So let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint. Let's head on down the road. There's somewhere I gotta go, and you don't know how it feels. You don't know how it feels to be me. My old man was born to rock. He's still trying to beat the clock. Think of me what you will. I've got a little space to fill. So let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint. Let's head on down the road. There's somewhere I gotta go.